I'd like to call to order the Landmarks Commission meeting for September 23rd, 2024. The time is currently 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
David Craycraft.
Here.
Pete Lynch.
Here.
Roger White here. Whit Wardell.
Here.
I'd like to make a motion that we excuse Rich Dobda, Dr. Scott Kelly, and Linda Boving from tonight's meeting.
I'll second.
Roll call, David Craycraft.
Yes.
Pete Lynch.
Yes.
Roger White, yes. Whit Wardell.
Yes. I'd like to make a motion we approve the commission minutes for August 26, 2024 meeting.
Second.
Roll call, please.
David Craycraft.
Yes.
Pete Lynch.
Yes.
Roger White, yes. Whit Wardell.
Yes. Pending applications?
First application on tonight's agenda, CA 24047, the address of the subject property. Sorry, I'm trying to turn down my mic here. The address of the subject property is 27 East Columbus Street. The request this evening is to repaint both the front door and side door of the subject property. The applicant previously owned another building here in town and got approval for the yellow paint that is on the screen door here. They went ahead and threw a coat up to see if they liked the look of it, determined that they wanted to have the screen door on both doors and that you can see in this photo, and the man doors be a matching color. Previously they were a dark green, a darker shade of the trim of the home. It's kind of a bad photo here, but to kind of give you an idea of the color. I asked if they had any idea of what the name of the paint was or what brand or whatever for some reference for you guys. It was actually paint that was kept in an old Pyrex container, so it was unlabeled. But they want to try something different. They did, Mr. Lynch did note that if you guys did not like the yellow color, they do have the original green that was on it they can put back up, but they were trying to go with something different for you guys.
So Andrew, this in our packet is probably a little truer to the color. It's a little brighter, looks like.
Yeah, I mean, it looked pretty much like this photo I took when I was out there today. I think the reproduction photo is a little misleading. That's why I went out and
You mean this one?
Yeah, that's why I went out and tried to snap this photo for you guys, because this is the same door. It's a little more yellowy bronze in the printed version.
And just to clarify, they want to paint the man door and the screen door, correct?
On both,
Okay.
side door and front door, yes.
So the man door here is green.
Yep,
They want to paint it yellow.
correct,
And the same way with the door
correct,
on the back side of the porch.
correct.
Okay.
I like it.
I agree.
Any
You guys
further
like it?
questions? Yeah.
It's just paint.
Then I'll make a motion to approve application CA-24-047 as stated.
I'll second. Roll call, please.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Pete Lynch.
Yes.
Roger White, yes. David Craycraft.
Yes.
The next application for tonight's agenda is 14 Beck Street. This property owner is looking to replace their existing wood picket fence with a taller picket fence. It's kind of hard to see from this aerial, but right off of the right side of the home, you can see this little white stretch right here that goes down the property line and then ties back in to the edge of the garage. This is the fenced-in area that the applicant is looking to replace. Photograph of what it looks like now. It's a 4-foot Gothic-style picket fence. The applicant indicated that they have a dog that can jump the fence, is looking for something a little bit taller. After speaking with her, the thought is to do the exact same style of fence, but instead of 4 foot, bring it up to 5 foot tall. Applicant's here to answer any questions you all have.
Hi,
How are you?
good. The main reason that we want to go a foot taller is that our dog jumped the fence somehow, and a coyote chased him. So there are coyotes in our area. I didn't know that.
So the fence will be right where it's shown in the photo?
Yeah,
correct?
it'll be exactly the same except 1 foot taller.
Okay. Same color,
Yeah,
same style?
same style, same color, same position.
Are you rebuilding the structure or just the pickets?
Rebuilding it, it'll be all new.
Okay.
So the post will be new also?
The posts will be, everything will be new.
Okay.
Gates in the same spot if they're already.
Gate in the same spot. Good questions.
Can we see the overview one more time? This is just a budding, looks like the neighbor's yard is open there.
Correct.
You know, it looks like the fence will be finished, well, like in this photo right here, does it look like
Looks like
the
rails
structure of the
house.
fence is on the neighbor's side?
No, it's interior.
Okay, okay. Now, just as long as the finished side of the fence is facing your neighbor.
The finished side is facing
Outward.
outward, yeah.
Outward, yes. Just like it is now,
Okay,
but a foot taller,
yeah.
and it's all new.
Just 1 foot higher,
Okay,
identical.
okay.
I don't see any issue with that.
I don't either.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve application CA-24-048 as stated.
I'll second.
Roll call. David Craycraft?
Yes.
Roger White, yes. Whit Wardell?
Yes.
Pete Lynch?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Becky.
you.
Thank you.
Very much.
The last application on tonight's agenda, CA 24046. This application is for a new single-family home to be constructed on lots 48 and 49 of the Dixon Second Addition along Clinton Street. This parcel consists of 0.41 acres on the west side of the alley. This property is sandwiched between the 3 homes that were recently constructed a few years ago to the north and the existing residential home from the 90s to the south. This property was added to the Old Town Single Family Zoning District in 2012. Again, the applicant's requesting approval to construct a new 2,594 square foot single family home. This home, as shown on the plans, will sit 25 feet away from Clinton, 20 feet from the north, 32 and change from the south, and 53 and a half feet from the west. The home setback 25 foot from Clinton is the same as the other 3 lots adjacent to the north. Does put it a little further to the north than the existing home that is shown here on the right-hand side of the screen. The applicant's design off of the plot plan you can see here puts a side load garage off of the south side of the lot. This home design here, and one of the things when working with the applicant was to make it look like a residential home that's had additions over time. So one of those key features was having a garage style that appears to have been added on to the building at some point in its history. But it's one of the things we try to do with new construction here within the Old Town District. The applicant's plans, and just for reference, I did throw their floor plan in here if you guys wanted to see how the space functions and how that influences certain elements of the home. But when looking at the exterior of the building here, this front elevation, this is what faces Clinton Street. The applicant does have a list of building materials underneath this front elevation page. Feel free to reference it. It is the same on all 4 elevations. But when looking at the front here, this portion of the home on the right-hand side was what has been designed to be the original structure of the home with what appears to be 2 additions that attach to the side load garage building here. Looking at some of the elements on the building, you can see the majority of the siding across all the elevations is a horizontal 6-inch hardy board. There are accents of board and batten for the garage here on the left-hand side, and the applicant is showing 2 accent panels of board and batten on some of these projecting elements on the front of the home. The plans do call for simulated divided light 2/2 windows across the home. The applicant does provide a detail for a window trim that is to be on all of the front windows. Wasn't clear with that if it was just on the front elevation or on all the elevations, but based off of it's saying on the front windows. A question there for the applicant to elaborate on. When looking at that, there were no details provided for what that trim material was, just a reference image. Again, some more clarification would be helpful. Looking at the plans here, you can see there is a covered front porch. It's kind of hard to see with the board and batten trim, but they are showing 2 columns, one on either side of this double window. The floor plan shows it a little better here for the depth of the front porch and at 5 foot 11 inches, and then the width of the front porch a total of 10 feet 11 inches. When looking at the plans, the applicant is showing that this is a exposed foundation with a brick pattern. In a couple slides, I'll show the reference palette book the applicant has put together. They do show a whitewashed brick. I'm not sure if that is a color that the foundation stamp is going to be painted, or if it's a thin brick that's going to be applied after the fact. So again, another clarifier from the applicant would be helpful. Looking again here, you can see that they're looking to have vinyl soffit and fascia. Appears to be a traditional K-style aluminum gutter, and then the shingles on top are an Owens Corning dimensional asphalt. Kind of moving from that front elevation, this is the left elevation here is the south elevation. You can see the board and batten trim carries over to the back on this side. They have a proposed raised panel garage door for the double door and the single garage door. Some of these projecting elements I noted previously have the board and batten style on the front face. This image and the following image shows that board and batten material kind of stops right at the corner of the face and doesn't transition down the sides. Looking at the right elevation, this is facing to the north. You can see here that this is the horizontal siding across. Again, I did make note that the application says decorative trim on the front windows, but when looking at the kind of renderings, they all kind of appear the same, so something that clarifying that would be helpful. And then looking at the rear, you can see the horizontal siding. The applicant is showing a covered porch. The porch itself appears to only be just 4x4s that hold up that roof structure. Again, when you look at the front porch, you can see some detail for, it says it's an 8x8 square post. Appears to have a decorative cap and base on it. Again, something that, not sure if there's some line work missing. I know when I was talking with the applicants on putting these drawings together, they indicated that the builder didn't have as much ability to make full customizations, so that's why some of the notes were added. But again, some of these things I think would be helpful for the understanding of the full scope of the project. Looking at their pallet board here, the applicant has provided information. Again, this is the front man door detail, the rear French doors for the rear patio, garage door details, showing The simulated divided light windows, again, it looks like this is the style for the window trim they are going after. The horizontal siding, color choice is a booth bay blue. Not sure if the board and batten's gonna be the same color. It wasn't clear if the main exterior was the same as the accent exterior siding. And then I believe cypress may be the color of the doors, just based off of the positioning in this palette book. But again, all stuff for the applicant to go over with you guys this evening. Tried to cover everything as best as I'm aware of with this project. If you guys have any questions for me, I'll try to do my best to let you know what I'm aware of, but the applicant's here to kind of go over their project with you guys.
Hello.
I'll just start off with, this is going to be just a sample of it. And then this is going to be,
This will be the siding, right?
yes, and it's all going to be one color. And then
The
this side,
horizontal and the board and batten will be all this.
correct, that same color.
Do you see this, Andrea?
Thank you.
That's that booth bay blue.
And instead of cypress, we change it to this color, it's just going to be the front door. The other will be white.
So it's not this
No, it won't be cypress, it's going to be corn silk,
corn stalk.
corn silk. And then those decorative panels around the windows, that is the design we're going for.
You mean the,
Yeah, like the
The
style.
trim?
Yeah, the trim.
okay. And that'll be hardy trim.
On the windows, I think that's an Anderson window product that Abby picked.
You mean the trim around
Yeah.
the windows?
Yes. Now, if you're okay with it being hardy or would prefer that, that's fine too.
Do you know what the material is that Anderson would provide?
It's a composite of some kind.
It's not vinyl?
I don't believe it's vinyl.
No, we would just have to make sure it's not.
I think I'd want to see that. Who's the manufacturer of the window? Sorry.
Anderson.
Okay.
Yep. And then if you would rather have fiber cement board, I think that's fine. It's not gonna be really any real different look. And we were just planning on that on the front.
Yes, there's nothing super clear about what's expected of the positioning stuff, or, because the back of the property borders the zone. There's just those condos behind it, so we weren't sure how stringent you guys would be on appearance for the back. Be more basic style.
I have a question. When you're looking at the floor plan, which is the last page, tell me about the covered porch. You don't show it, other than the floor plan, you don't show it in any of the drawings. If you look at the rear of the house drawing, there's no, you see it in the floor plan, but you don't see it in the rear of the
With it
house.
being one-dimensional, it's difficult to see.
Yeah, you can make,
Yeah, those
You
are
can
the
make
column, the vertical
yeah,
columns there.
it's just hard to see on that
Yeah,
one
to the
dimension.
right, looks like they're just 4-inch column.
Okay.
Which typically, we would do a 6-inch column. We did an 8 on the front. But it's open to.
I guess I'd like to see at least a 6.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's-
Instead of a 4x4.
It's not
On
a
the back.
typical architect, so yeah, that's the reason. Yeah, we would do a 6x6 at a minimum.
Okay.
And if you would prefer it to match the front, an 8x8 would be fine too.
And then that will have a concrete,
Each front and back porch will be over a 4-foot poured wall foundation, backfilled with gravel, back with concrete.
okay.
So our poured wall foundation has a brick stamp on it. Would it be acceptable to paint that? Or does the board require actual brick or thin brick?
So if you were to paint it, would it look like what's on the palette?
It would, because truly the forms of the poured walls does have that pattern on the inside and the outside. So it would just be a matter of what color they would want that to be, or you would want that to be.
I mean, I guess I don't mind if it's stamped or the brick veneer, as long as it's consistent around the entire house.
Andrew, do you know what these previous, one of them had previous builds to the north of this, looked like one has a stone foundation,
2 are stone and 1 was brick.
but none of them are poured foundation.
Correct, and a lot of that had to do with the grading on the lots. There was a lot of exposed foundation as you worked your way towards the rear. I think upwards of almost 5-6 feet of foundation was exposed on those. So they did a combination of, I think, dropping siding and having more of the foundation walls.
Does this have a basement?
Yes.
Okay, because I saw the stairs and it does say down, so we'll be seeing, well, I don't know if you'll see the basement windows.
There's
I mean, they'll be below grade with the wells.
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct.
In regards to the foundation, from a longevity standpoint, which would be better?
What would be best would be poured wall and just paint, because with any masonry product, you've got mortar, it's not gonna last forever. I mean, you could go look at 100 houses here within a half mile and probably see some deterioration of brick and stone.
Have you done a survey at this point to know if there's any grade change for the foundation exposure to vary?
Sands Decker should have elevations on their site plan. I've been to the lot, but I could not tell you how much fall. Off of memory, there's not much. We could easily adjust that to everybody's preferences as far as holding the house up and then backfilling so that there wasn't, too much exposed poured wall or too much exposed foundation.
Just something for, I know this topic of new construction doesn't get brought up often here, just because, realistically, these are the only 5 lots that have been in the city besides a complete tear down. Our normal new build process outside of the Old Town District has a maximum of 12 inches of exposed foundation before you're required to put a thin brick or stone on it or drop your siding to stair step it to follow grade. Now I can tell you the 3 homes to the north, they had to elevate those homes when they constructed them.
For drainage, probably.
For drainage, yep.
Right.
And so I'm assuming the same thing will have to
Yeah.
somewhat take place to feather it out on this
Definitely.
lot.
Yeah, we would never think about going lower than the
Right.
neighboring
Or
house.
the road.
Or the road, yeah, so, but again, if we did that and it left 3 or 4 feet, we could obviously bring in some dirt and grade it out nice.
So that could just be something else to take into consideration, that, the siding could also be lowered to cover some of the basement to have the same appearance from grade.
Right.
That's something that outside of this group, we've permitted elsewhere, so wanted to throw that idea out there. It's obviously easier from a construction
But
standpoint as well.
that's if there's more than 12 inches of foundation showing.
Correct.
I think my concern with the stamped brick here is, one, we don't have very many build sites like this available. But if something burns down and somebody wants to put something back, I'm kind of concerned about the precedent of a stamped foundation within historic and preservation districts. And if it ends up having to come up higher, then you're gonna see more of it. If it's a brick or two and it's painted, it might not be that noticeable, but it starts to get this big. Are you able, I should probably know this, I think I've seen it before, but it's difficult to do. Are you able to use that stamp poured foundation and still create an actual brick ledge?
No, not usually, because when you do a brick ledge, you're essentially blocking out that stamp
Correct.
with foam or something like that. So no, normally it's only the brick stamp when you've got the full 8-inch form.
So you said maybe we should go after the veneer?
I mean, I feel that way. If you can't actually create a brick ledge and lay real brick in there, and you're gonna use a veneer.
I'm sorry, we could put in a brick ledge and we could use real brick. Whether it's thin brick or real brick, none of us would even know the difference or care.
If it's thin, you can put an angle, an applied angle on it and do it that way.
Even if we use a thin brick, we'd probably do a true brick ledge anyway, so.
Okay. I think I'd like to see that, considering, where this is.
Okay.
At least on the 3 sides, if you wanted to keep it around the back, where you're maybe not gonna see it as much, but the time you're going to 3 sides, I guess you might as well do it all the way around. But I think I would be okay, not seeing the actual back side.
So you'd be okay with just 3 sides though?
Yeah, I think so. You're not gonna see a whole lot on the garage side anyway, because you're eating up.
So we'll see a thin brick veneer on the sides and front.
Yes. Does that sound okay to everyone?
Yep, that's,
So if that's the case, is this brick suitable that you have, this color brick? Or is this just to kind of give an idea?
They were happy with the selection. That is a thin brick. Whether we go to a thin brick or a full brick, it would not change the aesthetics. You would literally have to pull a brick off to even know the difference.
So as far as that color goes, it looks like it goes pretty well with your color of siding
Yeah.
and the door.
Yeah.
I think if we just stick with what you have submitted there.
Yeah.
We'll trust his wife's judgment, not ours.
You know what, can we go back to the windows real quick?
Absolutely.
Window trim, should we request hardy trim or, because I don't know what Anderson provides.
I think without knowing exactly what that looks like, we should go with.
Well, I believe she pulled that picture right off of Anderson's website, so that is the Anderson product. I think she really likes the look of it. It is more old school looking. You don't see that on a lot of the newer homes anyway. So if that's her preference and you guys are okay with it,
Well, I mean, the detail's fine.
Yeah.
We just didn't want it to be,
I think as long as it's
Not
composite, as long as it's not vinyl.
yeah, as long as
Yeah.
it's a composite.
I don't think they could make something like that out of vinyl any which way, but we can confirm that for you.
Yeah, can we
Anderson's
do
website.
that, confirm it?
Yeah, if it is in fact vinyl, if we can do it in James Hardy. I know James Hardy doesn't make a trim like that crown detail at the top, so you have to
Exactly.
figure something else.
It's more of the standardized lineal.
I mean, I like the detail, I like the sill.
Yeah,
And if Anderson can provide that in a composite,
yeah.
Kind of feel with these windows too, that 3-side rule needs to apply here. I'm not so
Okay.
concerned about the back, but
Sure.
I think, well, it's just gonna be 2 sides. You don't have any windows on the garage end, so.
Right, right.
So the north
Yep.
and east location.
Yep.
With that said,
It looks like that's only adding
just the
two windows.
2 windows, yes.
3, and technically, we just called it the twin as 2, but yeah,
Okay.
we're on the same page.
Also with windows, I am under the impression here, that I think they all need to be SDL as opposed to just the front side. Especially in your dining kitchen area, you're gonna be looking out your front kitchen window and see grids, and then the back is gonna not have grids, which is gonna be pretty
We
strange.
weren't concerned about that.
Your wife might be.
We have, there's a lot wrapped up in this, so we were looking to save money where we could.
Yeah, I just can't think of another scenario where we've split the windows up like that, especially on a new build.
So are you saying you would want simulated divided light all 4 sides?
Everywhere. Do you have it drawn in on all your elevations? And I think that's how it needs to look.
Okay,
That would also go with those 2 doors in the back.
right.
Yeah, on your elevation drawing, it has it drawn in that way.
Okay.
says, I found it here on the internet, the Anderson product is, they call it Fibrex. It's a mixture of wood fiber and thermoplastic polymer.
That's what they
So
make
it's a
the
wood
renewed
fiber
windows by
plastic.
Anderson, that
Yeah, I'm
fiberglass.
just-
The trim around it.
I just don't like the plastic.
So you're okay with
fades, it
fibrix?
cracks. As long as, well.
I mean,
again,
what,
that
what's
says-
showing?
I believe
Yeah,
it
but
gets
it's-
painted. I think it's a paintable
It
product.
does get painted?
I have not seen it live in person, but it looks like a paintable product. I'm guessing it would come primed.
It's just without knowing exactly what it
Right,
is.
what it
You
is.
did say plastic in that quote.
Yes, thermoplastic.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be better to stick with the James Hardy. Or
Our
a-
trim
or an-
never,
for the trim.
from their website, our trim never needs painted, caulked, or refinished.
Okay, so it comes pre-finished in the window color.
Yes.
Yeah, I think a James Hardy or
I'm
a
assuming.
So the
Allura.
issue is just
all
it containing
plastic,
plastic?
Oh,
Yeah, try to stay away from any vinyl or metal wrapped windows within preservation and historic districts. So. Yeah, again, that piece of molding at the top, you'll have to get creative with that. But I like the detail on the window. I think that's gonna look great.
so there's SDL windows on all four sides? Because in the verbiage on this, it just says SDL windows on the front only.
It does.
So like I said, when you're building in Canal in these districts, there's just no good information to find what is actually required. It's just basically word of mouth and what people decide the day you get approved.
We are primarily interested in what is visible from the street. So that if you can see it from the street or your neighbor's yard, not necessarily the backyard.
But we still need to have that on all four sides though, even in the backyard.
The windows, I think, need to stay SDL consistently, rather than splitting those up. We're making some concessions on the three sides, just, I think windows definitely need to fall in that category, all being the same. Also brings me to the front door. The single side light is a 1950s to 1970s era, almost a mid-century modern look. Although this is I know Andrew doesn't like the farmhouse term, but it is a style in the last 20 years, more of a modern farmhouse or an urban farmhouse. I think a door a little more like this is going to be appropriate, either to have a side light on both sides or none at all. It's a pretty tight space that you have in there too. I think it's going to get pretty crowded with two. And
I think with the door being glass, I don't really think you need the side light. You know, so I agree with Pete. I think just the door with the transom and no side light.
And a lot like this one, you could keep this if you want. You guys have one that's down there.
Yeah.
That little center divider, if that can line up with the simulated divider light on the door, that'd be great.
But you're okay with the color?
I think the color's great,
look
yeah.
nice.
Was that the
Corn silk
corn stalk?
stalk.
Here's your sample window.
The siding color is accurate on your sheet, right?
Yes, the
Booth
booth
bay
light
blue.
blue, yes, correct.
Then on the right elevation, that's an egress window, isn't it, coming out of the basement?
Yeah.
So looking across the front elevation, one of the problems I have with this design, although from the 2D it looks really good, it's very uncommon in a traditional house to not wrap the bump outs with the same material. I really think on the bedroom number 2, which is off to the right-hand side, and the den, which is to the left of the front door, I think the front and the sides need to return back with board and batten, as well as the garage. You've got the garage two-sided, the front and the side load. The garage door overheads are. I think the right side, if you're looking from the front, also needs to return like the den and bedroom. And I would prefer to see in the back, can we see the rear elevation one more time, Andy, please? I think just to the left of that man door of the garage, if you do a vertical divider, I think keeping all that garage board and batten so that it's consistent on three sides is gonna be much more architecturally correct.
Now, the board and batten is more expensive, so if we decided to just do horizontal with the whole thing, then
I mean, I think the accent is nice. It's just, like I said, it's very atypical to just have the front wall and not your corners.
Well,
It looks really strange when you see.
like I said, we're in, kind of in a budget crunch, so if we didn't want to do board and batten at all, if we're having to do more, would just doing all horizontal then?
What
Like
do
just
y'all
having to
think
use
of
the
that?
hardy board added almost 50 grand to the budget, so,
The hardy siding,
yes.
yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, I think the board and batten does that a lot. Could we get by with not doing the back, but doing the returns like you said?
I would at least rather see the returns, the back being that it's all ones, you know, is a little bit easier. And nobody's really gonna see that but you.
And so you're saying return bedroom to both return walls,
Yes.
and then same for the den, I think, and then the garage.
I would double check that too as far as cost goes, because in my experience, you're putting great big panels up instead of individual pieces of siding. My experience is it's the opposite.
We just gotten quotes.
I'll leave that up to you. I think architecturally it needs to wrap at least
I
at the
agree.
den, bedroom and garage and.
Yeah, I
I'm not-
agree.
I can live without the back part of the garage. That'd probably help you out a little bit.
So
Again,
we're-
unless you find out that it's not actually more expensive.
Hmm.
I still think it would look.
That was just one of the things I'd asked my wife before I came, because that was one of the things she was worried you guys wouldn't like, so I said if they didn't like it the way it is, should we just do it all horizontal then?
It's been a trend over the last 20 years with a lot of the new builds, just to put a face, and it's because a lot of housing districts require you to have a certain look on the face. And so it stops at that front corner, and it really looks pretty silly.
So we're saying the rear elevation will stay as is?
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
That work for you?
No.
And then on the soffit and fascia, you have vinyl.
Yes.
What do we have on the other home? Oh,
It was the same, that's where we got that from, the Heitmeyer builds.
They should say, I gave you a copy of their applications.
That was one of our references, we just looked up the minutes for what was approved for them.
Need my bifocals for this. Trying to see. I just can't see the detail. What, it's a vinyl fascia as well?
Metal.
Metal. So, a sub fascia wrapped in metal?
So the overhang, the soffit would be the vinyl, then the fascia is metal.
Wrapped aluminum?
Yeah.
And those neighboring houses are that? Andrew, I don't see it on here, I apologize, but it's awfully small. I don't remember approving any wrapped aluminum on anything. You sure those aren't James Hardy fascia on the neighbor?
Like I said, it's just in the minutes,
I think we approved the vinyl soffit, I do remember that, but I don't remember approving any wrapped fascia. I mean, we've made people take that off when they do.
I'll see if I can pull up the minutes while you guys are looking.
Trying to look at this, it's real small.
Want to borrow these?
I don't know if they'll help me or not. Just need a magnifying glass, I just can't see where it's. What does the soffit look like? Is it just a vinyl with little holes, strips?
Yeah, continuous ventilation.
Continuous little
Yeah.
1/8 inch holes?
Right.
What about water table and freeze on any of this. I don't see any, looks like across the front there's freeze boards, but then when you get around to the sides. The sub fascia.
Right.
Well, it looks like it's been, has it been removed around everywhere but the front?
Are you referring to the bold line up at the freeze board on the front?
Just below your fascia, you've got another horizontal. It's, with lap siding, it's hard to tell if that's just lap.
I believe he's gonna wanna run a freeze even where there's board and batten as well. It's just a cleaner installation.
And it's much easier, yeah, you end up with a strange transition
Yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah, some of the real minor details on these drawings are just hard to tell. The guy that we have made these drawings, he's Mennonite or Amish, so they kind of had limited technology. So some of the real fine details like that is hard to just reproduce in that.
So on the front elevation, the gable ends will not have a I mean, it doesn't show a freeze board.
I don't necessarily, I mean, I guess there's a bold line there, which maybe there's a freeze on the sections other than the gables, like you're saying, Dave. But again, if with that horizontal lap, it's not called out. You're under the impression that it needs it?
I think it's typical construction for that application to have a freeze.
On the gable ends?
Correct.
Because you'd be
When there's
running
board
it
and
up
batten.
right into the soffit.
Right. Now with the lap siding, you probably don't need the freeze, but where there's board and batten, I'm thinking he's gonna want that.
At least a 4-inch.
Mm-hmm. So there'll be a 4-inch freeze board on all the gable ends on the front elevation, right?
Yeah. I think that's a nice look.
Mm-hmm.
So Dave, you're saying just at the front?
Yeah.
So even though your board and batten comes directly, how are you gonna make that soffit transition there? On like the garage, the overhead door side?
It'll probably just die right into the corner piece, corner trim.
Up to the soffit? Where the vertical board and batten goes up to the soffit?
Oh, I'm sorry,
I would think you're
I
gonna,
think he'll run freeze there.
across
Yeah, I
there.
think-
Anywhere where there's board and batten.
Right,
Yeah, I think that would be a better detail.
yeah,
So front elevation and anywhere there's board and batten.
yeah.
The trim, Mr. Lynch, is on the homes next door is Hardy or LP.
Okay. Yeah, I thought so.
The soffit is vinyl. But it was going to be in that Georgian block pattern or tongue and groove style. I'm sorry, that's the porch ceiling.
So the soffit is vinyl, the fascia is hardy.
Cement board, yes.
Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
And that matches the other houses.
That's what was approved in other houses. I just found the minutes for it. Because their columns in their front porch are fiberglass. Or wood, they had an option for both.
The rest of these houses all have, is it just, maybe just two, have front load garages. They're with the carriage style doors. Seeing as how this one is a side load, much as I'd like to see that style door. What's everybody think there? Gee, look, this is a previously approved neighbor. This the other one, Dave. Both have carriage style overheads. There's a little house right up on the garage side of this, correct? It's been
Correct.
there a while.
Mm-hmm.
It does not have a garage.
Yeah, it does not have a garage.
Is this house being on a one-way street take into account for anything either? It's not like a main street, not really high-traffic area.
I think we've made a lot of changes here, being that if it was front-loaded, I think I would want to see it carriage style, but I think I'm willing to leave that one alone.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things I wanted to talk about. Is there any questions with any of that?
No, I don't think so.
Pete, I'd just say that if, we can go with the garage doors as presented, but if they find it in their budget to go with the carriage doors, they're more than welcome to do that.
I don't agree with that. I didn't have any issues with the roof. I feel like we need to talk about that unless somebody else does.
Mm-mm. I'm okay with it.
Are there any vents on the front?
They're
Everything
just
pushed in?
decorative. In
Okay.
the gables,
Yeah. You
yeah.
know, roof vents or anything, are they all coming out the back?
It's
Yeah.
continuous ridge vent, and then
I'm
back.
just talking plumbing
Yeah,
stacks, things.
those will be vented to the soffit.
Oh, okay, they're gonna vent to the soffit.
Yep.
All right.
Some plumbing will go out the roof, but
Nothing on the front side?
correct, yeah.
Andrew, there's no setback issues, anything?
No, the setback to the front mimics what was done to the north. And they're gonna have a really big yard, so I'm not concerned with the
Yeah.
other setbacks either.
This is a lot bigger than the other lots.
These are two lots
It's
combined.
two,
Yes, this is almost half acre.
Does anyone have any further questions? Dave?
No, I'm good.
I would like to make a motion that we approve application CA-24-046 with the following conditions. All windows are to be SDL as presented, but all windows, all four sides, 2/2, no 1/1s. The board and batten sections must return on the sides of the bump outs, including the bedroom number 2 and the den. And the garage is okay as presented. We'll leave the back side horizontal. At the rear of the house, we're going to change the 4-inch columns out with 6-inch columns. On the foundation, we are going to use the presented thin brick with a brick ledge on 3 sides. The soffit is okay, being a continuous vinyl vented soffit. However, the fascia and the window trim need to be either a James Hardie or a Laura product. And we are going to add a 4-inch freeze board on the entire front elevation, and also anywhere else there is board and batten siding. The front door color has been changed to cornstalk, which is fine.
And no side light.
And no side light at the front door. We're just going to have a single, I believe that's a 3/4 light that's drawn in there.
Yes.
Panel work is fine, and the transom above should have a single vertical divider in line with the door.
Hey Pete, did you add the return of the garage on the front elevation?
I don't think I did say the
'Cause I
return
don't
of the
think
garage.
we have
The right side of the
elevation of
garage
that.
from the front elevation, yes, needs return. The back elevation of the garage can stay horizontal.
So those transom windows above the front door, the vertical grid,
Sometimes you gotta customize, add that in.
yeah, I don't
They're
know
hard.
if it's gonna match
They're hard,
up.
they're hard to find.
Yeah,
I think as long as it's in line with that grid to split it, the solid ones just look really modern.
okay.
I mean, you could split it into three, I guess, if you wanted, but I think it looks better in line with the door. All right?
Yep.
And one more thing, did you mention the post on the rear porch?
I did, from 4 to 6?
You know, or a minimum of 6 by 6,
Yeah.
and if-
Yeah.
to match the design of the trim out as the same as the front porch.
The front's usually 8, the back is usually 6,
But
just.
that's fine.
Yeah,
And Pete, we've got the garage doors.
Yes, the garage doors are okay as presented. However, if you choose to upgrade those to a carriage style like your neighbors, that would also be fine. I think we covered it all.
All right, so I
That's it.
have all windows be SDL 2/2. Any board and batten siding must return on all sides. The rear of the home siding can stay the same. The rear porch be 4x4s. Excuse me, the rear porch 4x4s must be 6x6s. All of
Or larger.
front and side foundations must be covered with thin brick to match. Example, the soffit can be vinyl. The fascia and all window trim must be hardy board or an Allura product. A 4-inch freeze board be added with any board and batten siding. And no side light at the front door. The front door be a 3/4 light with a transom above with a divider to match the door. And the garage doors can be upgraded to a carriage style if the applicant desires.
That's correct. On the window note, I know I said this before, but in the specs, that rear door, the French door, also needs to have the same SDO.
All windows and doors be SDL.
Yes.
Thank you.
I believe that gets it.
And then all the window trim will be hardy.
I have that, yes.
You had that, right?
Yes.
You may
So
have-
end up being square though, right?
as far as the trim around
The-
windows. Yeah, I don't think we can get a crown.
Yeah, that'll just be
I think-
square then.
I think if you can find a detail there that you like, that's not James Hardy, I think we're okay with that. I like the look of it. It's nice to have some kind of
So
detail.
if we found a material that was composite though,
Composite or wood.
Okay.
You can make it work. Yeah. That was me. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, David Craycraft.
Yes.
Pete Litch,
Yes.
Roger White, yes. Whit Wardell.
Yes. And then Jesse, I will, I'm gonna put all this together in the approval letter for you guys that I'll send you. I'll also try to put together like a drawing showing some of the specifics on what elevations and sides, just to, for my record, for clarity, and that way if you have any questions to reference that as well, so. Hopefully it'll be clear on paper
Yeah.
once it's set down. I know it's really hard to try to follow some of those things during the meeting, so I want to let you know you'll be getting that from us.
okay, appreciate it.
Andrew, I did hear you say all board and batten areas to return. I think I forgot that upper part above the den. Just make sure that's included there too.
Yeah.
It's gonna have a small return.
Yep.
Yes, you did say that, Pete.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For old new business, I know I previously had on here to discuss the Cheney Green Elevator project on your guys' agenda. I had a meeting with the Historical Society folks to talk about that project. They've decided to pull that from tonight's discussion. They're going to start to possibly reevaluate some of the things on their scope and make some changes. So with that kind of in mind, they did not want to come tonight for things that may not be coming for you guys for actual approvals in October, but they are gonna be working on getting things wrapped up so you guys can approve the full scope of the project, because they want to get it all constructed, rather than having an unknown timeline to get it completed. So that's forthcoming. I don't really have a whole lot. High Street projects coming on, going along well. They have, I think brickwork that's left on the two corners, and that's pretty much done for like the majority of what's going on in the area.
Where Harvest Moon is,
Where Harvest Moon is.
they're gonna be taking, he was explaining to me how they're gonna be supporting the awning
I have no idea. how
up
to do
above the
that.
parapet anchored into the roof, so they can pull the post out. Because I think there's some stuff that,
What are they doing with the rail, that loose rail, the railing that's half mounted to brick pavers and?
I think they're gonna be resetting it in the new concrete that's going in its place.
Be interesting to see how that goes back.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that, because we had to mount some of those expansion bolts into just loose bricks. Because that was all that was there, but it's held remarkably well.
Yeah.
now, will
see if
the
it goes
road
back
in front of
into-
Shades and Shaw's all be repaved?
Yeah, after we get done with the whole project, we're repaving from Columbus all the way to Mount.
Okay.
Yeah, that all needs a second coat, but that's once all construction's basically done, getting the heavy equipment off. But yeah, that's moving along. So hopefully that, I think they said that will be done in 6 to 8 weeks, like every little detail and stuff, so. Coming along.
So the OP Cheney, they must have gotten, I guess, further along with their funding to push the whole thing, because I thought they were gonna break it up over a 2 or 3 year period.
Yeah, I believe that's the case. I know one of the things that I met with them on was removing the comfort center from the scope. And because they have to go to Planning and Zoning Commission for that project as well. And one of the things they needed to figure out was parking for the site. So we were strategically trying to figure out how to add about 21 spaces to the property. One of the thoughts, the takeaways from that meeting was if the comfort center became basically a lot behind the building to facilitate that parking, it doesn't negate in the future if they want to do an addition there, you know, they still can, but it meets the need they have from the get-go. So that was kind of the focus of that discussion, is how to do that and still have restrooms. Like I said, they're evaluating that. We met last week. They said they want to get changes before you guys in October to do construction. But I know that addition on the back was not cheap. So I'm sure that changes things drastically if you're not building that on getting the project to pencil out.
Andrew, you might want to, like what you discussed with Whit and I before the meeting in regards to the floors and the LDLs that they're going to use.
Yeah, part of the work that they're doing is they're uncovering a lot more damage to the structure that they were not anticipating or aware of. So they've had to go through and actually like cut out structural members and replace them. There's been structural members that don't have foundations underneath of them, so they're going through and setting those. Part of the discussion is there's so much patchwork that needs to be done to get repair that they're exploring on not using the original flooring and setting new floor joists to run all new flooring. That way it's all flat, level. It meets commercial code from the beginning. So unexpected items with a 200-year-old granite, storage facility. But I think in the end, it's going to make a more usable facility. So I'm glad to see that they're making some of these advances moving forward.
If you want to remind them, this plan has bathrooms on the right, leaves plenty of room for parking. Just saying.
That's all I have.
We good? I'll make a motion to adjourn. The time is 8 PM.
Roll call, David Craycraft.
Yes.
Pete Lynch.
Yes.
Roger White, yes. Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Roger, did you second that?
Yes, I did.
Thank you.